Do you wish someone would just show you step by step how to trade? And do you sometimes feel lost not knowing which videos to watch or where to even start? And are you tired of having gurus selling you the hype instead of selling you real practical trading advice? Well, for me, the answer to all of these questions is yes. And because of these three reasons, I have one single promise to you, and the promise is as follows. I will save you months of confusion and frustration by teaching you what I know about volume price analysis. We're gonna do that step by step in clear, simple language with real life examples. This is something that I don't see often, the real life examples. I see often people taking a historical chart, looking for the perfect setup, and then saying that that would have been a great setup for their strategy, but I want to see it in real time on the live edge of the chart. And the reason that I want to do this is so that you can finally understand and apply trading concepts and kickstart your journey with confidence. Who will you be getting this trading knowledge from? Actually, from two people. The thing is, I'm the middleman, and you're actually going to be getting the knowledge from an expert, but we're going to get there in a few. But the person that is going to share the information with you, that would be me. For those of you who don't know me, my parents chose the name Carolina, but you can call me Caro for short. I've been in the trading space for about a year now. Last summer, I took the decision that, you know what, I'm going to learn how to trade. I've learned a lot, and I've also made many mistakes, and I'm here to share not just the good things that happen, but also the things that are going less good, so that you learn as well from my mistakes. I started with VPA, then I went over to trendlines, and then I went back to VPA. For those of you who have never heard about the concept VPA, VPA stands for volume price analysis. So you're gonna analyze two different things together. You're gonna analyze the price, and you're gonna analyze something that we call volume. Don't worry, this is something we're gonna explain, and we're gonna understand it later down the road. But the most important thing that you should know is that I learned this methodology from the one and only Anna Coulling and David Coulling, traders that have been in the trading space for about 20 years, and they've been trading using volume price analysis. I was privileged enough to come across her book at the very beginning stages of my trading journey, so I didn't have to do a lot of strategy hopping. And I was also privileged enough to get one-on-one coaching from both of them, which was an amazing experience. Now, you may be wondering, why did you go from VPA and then trendlines and then back to VPA? And fair enough that you would ask me that. Thing is, I made a rookie mistake. What I did is I blamed the game instead of looking inside and saying, okay, what's wrong with the gamer? The gamer would be me. When things didn't work out, I blamed the VPA strategy. Therefore, indirectly, I blamed Anna Coulling and David Coulling. They don't know this. They don't know that I kind of abandoned their strategy for a little while due to my ignorance. Let me explain to you what happened so that you can learn from my mistakes as well. So as you can see on the chart right here, the most important thing is that these vertical rectangles is what people call price, and these vertical bars is what people call volume. In their VPA strategy, they look at these things in conjunction. They look at the price together with the volume. They don't look at volume in isolation, and they don't look at price in isolation. So pay attention how the volume looks like. It looks like a flowing wave. You can kind of see an average. Look at the blue line. But then as I started to apply this VPA strategy on different time frames, so a way to explain it is at a different speed, the charts look completely different. The volume looked completely different. It looked like this, where in the middle of the chart, you still see the vertical bars that would indicate the price, but look at how the volume bars suddenly look. It's like you have sudden spikes and then dips, and then extreme spikes and then extreme dips. I was like, where's the average? Where is the average that they always talked about? Do you notice the difference in how volume looks? Like, come on, like look at this kind of almost horizontal line, but then look at these spikes. And so what I did is I said, yeah, VPA doesn't work. It's VPA's fault. The things that I learned doesn't work, which was a bummer, because I spent months reading the book, then I took one-on-one coaching, and then I'm like, yeah, this doesn't work. And me, in the middle of my frustration, in the middle of my ignorance, I never thought of reaching out immediately. I reached out way later. But in the middle of me being upset and frustrated, I blamed the strategy. I didn't look at myself. And so I said, you know what? I'm gonna never mind VPA. I'm gonna find something else. I'm gonna find something easier. And that is how I got to trendlines. But here's the thing. I felt stupid saying no to Anna's and David's offer, because the trading strategy that I was following, the trendline trading strategy, is you still look at these charts, you still look at the price movement, but you neglect the volume at the bottom. These vertical bars at the bottom, you completely neglect them. Like you ignore them. It's like they don't exist. So you're trading only looking at the price. Going back to Anna Coulling's and David's offer, offer, which comes from their book. The offer is as follows. The offer is based on the premise that the markets are manipulated by the big dogs. So there is a game, and the game is rigged. You could say either by the insiders, by the market makers, by the politics, by the elite, by the financial literate people, whatever you want to call it, by the rich ones. The game is rigged. It's controlled. Somebody makes the decisions, and somebody can say, now the price goes up and now the price goes down. We call them the big dogs. The thing that the big dogs can manipulate is they can manipulate the price candlesticks. In other words, they can manipulate this part of the chart. But the thing that they cannot manipulate, or at least the thing that they can manipulate the least, is volume. Which means that the big dogs can make the price look very positive, but by looking at the volume, you can actually realize that the big dogs are not buying. The big dogs are actually selling. Why would you buy if the big dogs are selling? Volume is telling you the behind the scenes. So basically, by trading with volume, you can move with the big dogs. The offer is very simple. By using VPA, you're going to trade from the big dogs perspective. And this is exactly the reason why when I was trading trend lines, again, trend lines is just looking at the price, you never mind the volume at the bottom. I'm like, but wait, how can I say no to this? Like, I know the price that I'm looking at is manipulated, but I don't know which bars are legit and which ones are only to create the illusion that we're going up north, but in reality, we're going to the south. I don't know what is real and what is fake. But with VPA, you actually get to know what is real and what is fake. So I always felt uncomfortable trading trend lines because I didn't know what is what. Like, something just didn't add up for me because I already had previous information, which is this information right here. So then I reached out again to Anna Coulling and David Coulling, and long story short, I asked them, yo, what's up? Why does the volume look so different? This is not what we studied. And then it turns out that on some time frames, yes, the volume can look different. It looks like a slightly different approach, and I can either skip it or I can focus on other time frames. And I'm like, damn, I wish I would have asked this sooner, but I was too proud to ask for help from the experts, which now that I think about it, I'm like, it's a mistake. For me at that moment, it felt like the smart thing to do. That's why I did it. You know, everybody does the best they can with the information that they have. I hope that you will make the same mistake as me of saying no to this incredible offer. I want to make an important note, and that is that I'm no trading expert yet. I'm teaching you what I learned as I learn. And that offers a different value compared to learning from experts. Learning from an expert or learning from someone that is at your level is not better and it's not worse. It's different. They give you different values because it's completely different approaches. And let me tell you why. When you learn from an expert, the thing that I came across is that experts often forget what it's like to struggle with the basics, which makes total sense because it's such a long time ago that the expert was a beginner. But on the other hand, students or people that are at your level, they are close to the struggle. We're close to the fire. We're close to the same level struggle, so we can vibe. The other thing is that experts often skip the steps that are obvious for them. And this has to do with the first point. A beautiful example of this is when I worked in recruitment, I had an amazing manager. The manager, he was a beast at sales. Like, he used to pick up the phone. We used to do cold calling, and probably 7 out of 10 times he used to get a yes over the phone. And then I used to ask him, dude, how do you do this? How do you manage to convert a no into a yes, or to get the maybe to a yes? An answer that I used to get a lot is just feel the conversation, or you just hear the tone of voice of the other person, or you just ask questions. And that's the moment that I realized that what is just for him is not just for me. And so what I started to do is, first of all, I comprehended that it's so second nature to him that he's not aware anymore of the tiny tactics that he's doing. When he was talking over the phone and when he picked up the phone, I'm like, okay, his tone of voice, 9 out of 10 times, is like this. Oh, I noticed that he doesn't ask close-ended questions. He asks open-ended questions. That was a huge point of improvement for me. And when I started to apply the things that I was writing down, then suddenly my results started to improve. But the important thing is that the explanations that I needed, he didn't give importance to those explanations because it was second nature for him. But to me, it wasn't. So when you're learning from someone that is at your level, the person that is at your level or close to your level is forced to simplify things for themselves. In my case, me, because I'm not an expert yet, I'm still forced to simplify complex concepts in very basic language. I really love to explain things 5th grader level. And that's the explanation that I'm going to share with you. So we're kind of vibing at the same necessity for simplicity. And of course, the experts show you how to do it. But a student, or at least somebody that is at your level, can show you 2 things. Can show you how to do it and how not to do it. How I'm showing you how not to do strategy hopping. I'm sharing my mistakes. It can be embarrassing for me, sure, but For me, it's more that I want to offer value to you. Like, guys, look at what I did wrong and learn from my mistakes, and don't make those mistakes. Try to make the time that you're making the mistake as short as possible. Like, take a corrective action as soon as you can. Of course, that requires awareness of what you're doing. So all in all, the point that I want to make is that learning from an expert versus learning from someone that is at your level, it's different. It gives you a different value. All in all, you're going to learn from someone that is close to your struggle, from someone that will simplify concepts, because I'm forced to simplify the concepts for myself. And that's going to give you an extra valuable perspective, because you're also going to see how not to do things. Another important note is that all the information comes from this VPA book from Anna Coulling. Anna Coulling is a trading expert that I was mentioning at the beginning. And this is the book that I read. This is the first book that I touched in my trading journey that I then left aside. Then I did trendlines, and now I went back to this book. Like, I reread this book. I finished rereading it 2 weeks ago. So the knowledge is from a VPA expert that swears by this method. You know, they've been using it for 20 years. And the thing that I want to highlight is I am the middleman. I'm the middleman that is taking the knowledge, that is applying the knowledge, that is learning, that is calibrating the things. And then I'm spoon feeding you, or at least I'm sharing with you the simplified version of it. It's a different version. It's a version from a peer perspective. But then, of course, I still highly recommend that you read her book, because that's another valuable perspective. You know, that's the perspective from the expert. Who is the series for? This series is for beginners and intermediate traders, which means that if you're highly advanced and you really want to stick to a specific strategy, then and it's working for you, then please, my God, stick to that. If it's working, double down on what's working and be successful with it. Then it's also for those who feel overwhelmed by the many trading strategies, because there's so many trading strategies, probably you haven't made a choice. Then I welcome you to take a look to the world of VPA. It's also for those that are craving structure and a step-by-step path, building a block on top of the other. I'm a very structured person, so it's for people who enjoy structure and who love to work with proven methods, because again, I'm not just taking the things out of thin air. I'm using the proven methods from Anna Coulling herself. And it's also for people that enjoy simplification of concepts so you can understand them in your own way. Let's dumb it down as much as we can. And the important thing is that use whatever concept works for you. I want people to understand the concepts in their own way, however it clicks with them. So for example, if you draw a line on a chart and you want to call that line the resistance line, call it the resistance line. If you want to call it the tricky line, you call it the tricky line. If you want to call it the Baba Boo Boo line, you call it the Baba Boo Boo line. As long as you know that the price is gonna bounce from that line. Call it however you want to call it. The thing that I want to give to you is the lesson, and then you add the own little decoration on top of it. And it's also for people that want to wake up and increase their awareness of the matrix, what people call the matrix. What I mean by this is that trading and pretty much anything that you do in life requires awareness. You're gonna put a mirror in front of you and you're gonna challenge yourself a lot. A great example of this is how when the volume didn't work in a specific time frame, I blamed the strategy. I blamed Anna Coulling. I blamed David Coulling. Instead of looking at myself, like looking inside. It's inside that you have to look to solve the problem. It's not outside, it's inside. And that's what I mean, that you have to be ready and you have to be willing to increase your awareness. You have to be willing to wake up. And of course, it's for people who have heard of the VPA wonders and want to give it a go. So the goal is very simple. My goal is to turn the chaos that is out there on YouTube, and I want to turn it into clarity. I want to turn it into structure. And the way that I'm going to do that, I'm going to repackage the proven knowledge from Anna Coulling's book. And we're going to do that with simple, structured lessons. And then, of course, we're going to add real life examples and real life struggles, because theory without application is nothing. Theory with application, now that's knowledge. Putting it into practice so that it becomes wisdom, so that it becomes knowledge. The only way that you get the wisdom is by applying the theory. I want to give this value to you for free. So it's not going to cost you any money. It's not going to cost you 4,000 something to go to my premium Discord. By the way, I have no premium Discord. I want to help you. I want to give you the information. You're going to receive the information because you're ready to receive the information. And then you can use it. You can apply it so you can verify these laws yourself, because trading has laws the same way that the universe has laws. And the moment that you obey those laws, you're going to get much more satisfactory results, because you're going to flow with the game. The plan is to break down volume price analysis concept by concept. So I don't want to teach you everything at once. I want to start building up concept, and then once that concept is understood, we're going to talk about the next concept that builds on top of the previous concept. We're going to do it in clear, easy to follow videos in plain language. I love the 5th grader level type of explanations. I also want to show you real life charts at the end of every single concept that we explain. So what we're going to cover, it's possible that I'm going to mention a few technical terms that are not familiar to you yet, but don't worry, don't panic, they're going to become familiar to you very soon. It's more to give you an idea of what you can expect so that you know that, hey, this is a well thought out process. This is something done with intention, so bear with me. You're going to learn about what volume price analysis is based on, and how I said VPA has certain laws, how the universe has its own laws. One of the most basic laws is the laws from a famous trader that is called Wyckoff. There are many YouTube videos talking about the opening price, the closing price, the high, the lows, the wicks, but what actually happens inside of a price candlestick? Like what causes the wick actually? How does it look inside? What is it like to dissect a candle? Then we're going to take the first steps because we're going to use volume together with price. Whenever you're trading price with volume, remember volume is the vertical bars at the bottom, you're looking for if it matches or if it doesn't match. And then we're also going to zoom in, how do the big dogs operate? Like how do they work? What are their intentions? And this is the so-called accumulation and distribution zones. It sounds very fancy. It's not. Within no time, it's going to become very obvious for you. And then we're going to look at key candlestick patterns. And don't worry, because there are books on Japanese candlesticks. People try to memorize so many patterns. But once you understand how candlesticks work, which is point number 2, the rest is going to come second nature. So just by knowing a few key candle patterns, the most important ones, you're going to be good to go. And then of course, support and resistance. And lastly, writing the trends, because there is a way in which you can benefit from a trend. And when we're writing the trend, we're again going to look at volume at the bottom. So by the end of this series, you're going to have the foundations to read volume and price together, aka VPA. You're going to have enough skills to venture into the real charts on your own, and you're going to spot where the big players are buying and selling. You're going to recognize candlestick patterns that will soon feel obvious, and you're going to draw your own support and resistance lines to mark up your charts. And then of course, you're going to write the trends with confidence. For the next session, I'm going to give you a tiny spoiler. We are going to talk about the history of VPA. What is this based on? What am I actually learning? We're also going to look at legendary traders who use the VPA. I want to make it clear that this is not something that I'm just inventing out of thin air. By looking at legendary people that used it, you're going to be like, there must be something to this. Like if they used it and they had these results, I want to get the same results. I want to get the same output. So that's why we're going to talk about the legendary people that use VPA, to show you, look the input that they gave, look the output that you received, and if you want the same output, let's work on that input. And then of course, we're going to break down why out of all strategies, volume is one to be seriously considered. And then the last thing that I want to highlight is, don't believe anything I say, verify it yourself. What I mean by that is, ever since we were children, we were given by society a bunch of beliefs that limit us. If you believe everything that I'm telling you without verifying it yourself, then that's just another belief. You're just hearing it and then you're like, okay, cool, yeah, but then it's just another belief in the system of beliefs. And I don't want that. That's not the point. The whole point is that whatever you read, whatever you hear, whatever you listen to, don't believe anything that I say. Take the information, apply the information, and see your own results. And based on the results, find your own truth. Can't wait for the next video.